Farrell, and me and Heather Beams are kind of facilitating the discussion. So the goal of this is just to basically talk about what everybody's using. We're also interested in, so tell us what platform or website that you might be using for assessment. We're interested in how are you dealing with the fairness aspect, and are you letting students use notes? Or what was the other thing? Oh, and how are you monitoring students? Are you using GoGuardian? Are you using some other way? So those are basically, so anybody that wants to share can have at it.
I can start because I gave an assessment yesterday.
Okay.
And it was for my AP class. And because last spring the AP test was open note and FRQ or free response question only, and my AP Chem exam is mostly, the FRQs are mostly math, guys, just for context. That's the model that I used. It was timed. So I have a pretty good sense of like how much time they're given for each question. So they had 45 minutes to take the test. They took it in their notebook. So I'm curious to hear about the platform I think you guys are using and how that's going, because that's what they did on the AP test. They literally like wrote the answers in their notebooks. And then after 45 minutes, they had 5 minutes to submit, and they took a picture, and then they had to upload that. And the quiz, the test itself is just literally like the doc that I had written the questions on. I don't like using the locked mode, even though this wasn't a form, because you can't see them. So I had them on GoGuardian so I could send out announcements to people at home if like, oh, what's, there's always a mistake, so like you should answer in grants for this one. And then I also watched them on Google Meet. So I saw them here and I saw them here. They were allowed to use any resource. So like I saw like one kid looking at my notes, which I said was fine. I think the time aspect means that they don't really have enough time to look up everything. I still had kids after all, like that open notesness, say they think they bombed it. So that's where I'm at. So I don't know. Again, I'm interested in whatever platform you guys are using for math, and not the GoFormative, the other one.
Dave, do you only have one class of that AP?
I do have one class. Janet is doing something similar and has two, but it takes so much time because we are remaking FRQs because all the released FRQs are available like on the internet. Start typing the question and it pops up with the answer. So we're like creating new ones, and it's just a lot of, she decided just to give the same one to both classes because she's like, this took so long, to actually make the test. So I didn't get any, so Heather, I see your question. We dealt with all of those issues prior. I can see them. So, like the kind of kid you get in this class knows a little bit more about technology. So they are logging, if they have a better device at home, they're logging into Chrome with their apps account and syncing it, which Jamie Lang taught them to do. You cannot lock their computer on locked mode. So again, I'm not using the locked mode because I don't find it helpful, but also then the kids, and so I made sure I could see every screen before we started. Some kid had to like restart and we had to wait for him.
Dana, are you also watching them on Google Meet during the test?
Yes. And it's mostly just a lot of this. Well, you can't see me, but it's like
right.
Their face right there. I mean, could they have possibly texted each other again? I think that the time limit kind of precluded them to be able to like ask someone like frantically what an answer was. I don't know. I haven't looked at them yet. So now I have all of these like images of their work that I have to grade, and I haven't really worked that part out yet. But that was part of what I was going to look at today.
So Dana, it was all just in a Google Doc that they wrote in? Like, is it?
They didn't write in it. They wrote on there.
Okay, but is it like math work so it's easier to write it on, or is it, okay.
It was math work, yeah. So my FRQs are primarily math. So my daughter Caitlin's at TE, and her math teacher, what is it, like class, blah, flip, class, I don't know what it's called.
Class kit.
That's it, class kit. Do you guys like that?
Yes and no. I used it at the beginning. I liked it because it's really like, it's live, so I can see them writing on it. I can be also on the same slide with them, kind of typing things, marking things up. But I know Julie was saying that the connection was getting better. I was having a lot of connection issues. I think their server was just overwhelmed with everyone using it. So my students were having a hard time logging in. And it was just waiting and waiting and waiting. And I got fed up. So I've switched to kind of submitting things through Google Classroom. And the last couple of assignments have been pretty good. I did an assessment on Monday and Tuesday with GoFormative. I haven't looked at everything, so I don't really know exactly how they did on it. But it was nice because I could see what they were doing live.
Yeah.
I watched them on GoGuardian. I watched them on the Google Meets. I made them stay on Google Meets the entire time, just so I could be watching them. And if they used notes, I kind of had no control over that. But again, with it being timed, I felt like they wouldn't have the time to look up all the resources that they needed and answer the questions.
Right.
But I don't know. It's hard to write on your Chromebook doing math work.
Exactly.
And it takes a long time to upload images sometimes. So that's where I'm having the issue of I want the kids to be able to write it. If they want to put it in their notebook, that's fine. But now they're uploading images. It's taking a long time. But then the negative part of it is now they have all their work in their notebook and it's an assessment and it's out for everyone else. And when you're giving it to multiple classes, it's hard.
So this is what I did for my my college prep chemistry class. We created, they don't know that we created 2 versions of the test, because if you write the title in lowercase, like regular, like capital and lowercase letters on a form, and then it lets you name another one with just capital letters. So we didn't even call it version 1 or 2. It was like regular and then like all caps. I love it. Smile right now. So that was a form. It was a little complicated because it was math again. But what we did is we gave that like 8 multiple choices. Okay, so there was too many choices just to like pick one and get lucky. Really, chances were low of that. So we had it go through. We had it scramble the order, and then on the second version we just changed the numbers. And it scrambled the order there. So correct me if I'm wrong, that means that if there were 5 math questions, that's 10 different versions, kind of, right? Like depending on the order. So I didn't want them to not get partial credit, because that's the thing. Like if you put it on a form, then it's like either yes or no. So this was annoying, but I had them do the same thing, do the work in their notes. Now, I will say the answer choices, like it was the same answer choices both times. And I was making up the answer choices based on putting it in my calculator wrong. See what I'm saying? So, I mean, did we spend way too much time on this? Maybe. But I mean, I really think that we were able to assess whether or not they knew how to solve those problems. Because even if they texted someone while they were doing it and said, what'd you get for this, Boyle's Law problem? And they said one number and they happened to say the other number, like, then they're screwed, But again, there was a time limit. I did communicate individually with every student who had extended time on their 504 or IEP, and I made sure I gave them all the same version so I could shut down the other version after the 15 minutes, and then I just waited. I just let them continue to test. Like, just keep going till you're done. And then once I saw that everyone was done, I just closed it at that point. And then I did that. I've done that twice already. I'm going to do it a third time. In the second half. Go ahead, Jane.
I have a quick question for you guys. I did something similar where I did limit the time and I closed the form at the end. And I have to go back and look. I think and I told the kids ahead of time, if you don't submit it by the time the form closes, none of your answers will be recorded. And I gave them like a half-hour warning, 10-minute warning, 5-minute warning, 1-minute warning. I counted down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm pretty sure there's one kid who didn't turn it in. So now my question is, what do I do for this kid? They sat there the whole time they took the test. I don't think they submitted any of their answers. What would you guys do?
I guess he's going to have to take it again.
Yeah, I don't know what to do now, but I thought about that before, Jamie, and so I didn't close it. That's why I chose not to close it based on time. I closed it manually at the end. Even though I was
did
counting
I.
down, I counted down like there was like the world was ending. But we still
Yeah, could you close it manually, and make sure that like, okay, your time's up, and make sure everyone has submitted it just in case? I don't know. It's never going to be fair.
Right, and that's what I tried to do. The issue I had was the Go Guardian session ended, so like I couldn't see what they were doing anymore, and so I didn't know if she had submitted it or not. And I thought about letting her take it again, but now I'm like, well, do I have to make like another version because she's already seen the first version? And I don't know. It's like,
you know, I did have a similar version. I did have a similar instance happen like that where the kid, this was in my AP class, guys, hit cancel form instead of submit form. Luckily, it was only 5 questions, so I kept him on the meet at the end, and I had him like verbally answer the questions like right then, but it was short, so I don't know if you can do that at this point. Did they have to write down work in their notebook, Jamie? Is there any evidence that they no?
No. So I was thinking about something like that too, just having a meeting with the kid or giving them like one bigger like essay type question rather than all of these like little multiple choice as a way to assess. I don't know. I gotta look. I didn't set the form up correctly for like first name, last name. It only collected usernames. So now I gotta go and like match all the usernames to the kids. So
yeah. I mean, in a way, Jamie, that they didn't follow your directions, you're doing them a favor by allowing them to like retake it or take a new version. So I think whatever you do, as long as you're comfortable with it, is fine.
So the platform that math is using called GoFormative, that allows you to set a time frame and like say if you set it for 60 minutes. And so once it starts whenever they log in and it continues even if they log out or whatever. And so when that time is up, it auto submits.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. So
and then everything's saved no matter what.
So you're using GoFormative now?
Yes.
Not the Class Kick.
For assessments, a lot of us are using GoFormative. During the classes for notes and examples, people are using Class Kick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are they writing with like styluses in your class? Like how are they?
So with GoFormative, they can type in their answers. They can take a picture of their answers and attach that. They can copy and paste if you allow them to do that. There is an equation editor right in it. I'm giving, I did a lot of multiple choice, and you can have it automatically score multiple choice. But for my free response, it's just an open space, and there's a bunch of different ways they could submit their work, and typing them is one of them. So it works really well, and it's all in real time. It's like a Google Doc. So once it submits, it's like if they were halfway through the free response problem, it just submits exactly where they left off. They can see the time as they're doing it. So it's really good. One other feature, because I was just in the middle of correcting those in the last couple of days, it actually tells you if they copy and pasted their response. So that was kind of interesting. And it was interesting to see how many of my kids, and I'm not suspecting that they cheated because I had Go Guardian. I had they could only open certain tabs. So I don't think they were communicating with each other. They were probably doing it in a Google Doc and then just copying and pasting, but it actually tells you that. So you could tell them, you can't copy and paste these responses. I don't know if that makes a difference to people, but I found it's a pretty good, it's a really good program. And you can you could randomize the order of the questions and the order of the responses for multiple choice within a question.
Do you know if in GoFormative you can randomize numbers? Like if you had a math equation, and could you make like random versions of it?
I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
So are you manually making up more than one version? Or no, are you not worrying about that?
Me personally, I made one version, but again, switching the order of the questions and switching the order of the multiple, I had like 15 multiple choice. So it switched the order of the responses too, for most of them. And honestly, the last class that I had 3 classes take it, the last class that took it got the lowest average. So I don't suspect that there was cheating there.
Here. Okay, so that
Did you assign it through through Google, like that feature of GoFormative? Or are you giving them the link or like a code?
So
go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, so what I noticed for GoFormative, if you give them the link to go right into the test, the problem with that is they can log in with a non-apps account. I actually had that with my first class. I provided the link right on Google Classroom because when you assign it, you could say assign or I don't know.
Sign and post.
Assign and post, and it will open up a post in your Google Classroom. But 2 of my kids clicked on that, and then they got onto GoFormative with their personal email, and one logged in as a guest, which you probably don't want that to happen because then any kid can get that link and go in. But if you kind of go in ahead of time, put your class in, have them log in and put your code in, then as soon as they go in, it will show them that your test is waiting there for them. So if they try to log in with the wrong account, they won't be able to get to your test. So that's what I did for my other 2 classes. It worked perfectly.
The other nice thing about it is like I had a student who was not taking the quiz that period. She was going to be making it up for a specific reason. And I was able to go right in and unassign it from her. So she couldn't even be seeing it right now. And when she makes it up later for me today, I can just assign it just to her. And so then she'll be able to see it.
Yeah.
And you can be making changes while they're taking it. So if you made a mistake on something, you can go in and retype something if you need, and they'll see the updated version.
Cool, thanks.
Have any of your departments as a whole decided, okay, everybody's open notes, or are you kind of just doing that by the prep that you teach?
I think it's by yeah, I think it's by PLC right now. Like when we were planning this quiz, the chemistry quiz for everybody, we talked about just like open notes and everything. And I just I feel like if it's hard because, you've got this is what we had to do for AP, it was open notes. So it's like, if College Board can't control it, how am I going to control it, And I think that we do have an advantage with math that we can show them the steps and how to solve these problems, but we're never going to give them the exact same problem twice, So I do feel like for the application, they still have to apply these steps to the new scenario that you've given them. It means that we have to give harder questions. I didn't ask my AP kids to write a balanced equation because they could literally just type into Google on their phone, combustion of ethane. I'm not assessing that. Everything's just a little bit harder because you can look that up,
So Dana, when you say open notes, this is where I struggle, do you literally let them have their notebooks out? I'm thinking for my CP or my honors, even calculus, the kids in class, I tell the kids at home, the kids in class to clear their desks, make sure everything's away, honor system. But as I said to my kids in class, I can't stop you from going in and looking something up in your notebook because I can't stop the kids from doing that at home. So are you having them, or anybody else, are you having them clear their desks, the kids that are in front of you, or are you saying you can have your notebook sitting right out there?
I didn't even use the words clear your desk. I said, make sure you have a calculator either on your, thank you guys for pushing out that TI-84. I mean, that's been a game changer. Or a real one. I said, and I just keep telling them, you can look up what to do. I gave them the formulas. There was really nothing they needed to look up. I did not see, and they knew they could look something up, but I said it in a way that was you're going to run out of time if you think you're going to look up how to do these problems. And I did not see anyone in class looking up how to do it. They just did it. I had someone who ran a little long at home, and I think they needed to look something up to solve it. I still don't even think they got it right though. You know what I mean? Even if they're looking at it, they don't. So I didn't say take out your notes for the APs. I said what they should have out. And again, some of them were opening tabs while I was watching them right before it started. They were opening their note tabs. I have to see how the results are. I'm going to compare them to last year and kind of see how it went, to be quite honest. So that's what I did. I don't know if I have a firm decision on how it worked out, but I know it makes you uncomfortable, right? You just have to let it go.
Yeah, I made my test open book, open note, and basically open internet for the kids because I just assumed that they were going to look for things anyway, even in my AP class. And honestly, the tests were not great because there were a lot of questions, and if they had to look everything up, they wouldn't have finished. So, yeah. I mean, they were normal. The grades were not inflated dramatically.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for this discussion. We're trying to keep to the time, so it's 7:36. So, yeah, I guess we're all done. Thank you, and Have a good day.
Hey, Dana, before you pop off,
What up? What up?
were you saying that you were having kids sync their device through Chrome and it was still showing up on GoGuardian?
Yes.
No.
Jamie, yes, right? That's what they told me you said, to sync. They were logging into the app's account on Chrome, and then it said, do you want to sync? And they would click yes. And then I could see them.
Really? I didn't know that that was a thing, so I can't have told the kids that. I emailed you back, like, what happened in my lab, because I have Windows desktops, is I was complaining because I couldn't see what they were doing on GoGuardian, and if they logged into Chrome from my Windows desktops in the room, I could sometimes see, but it was really finicky. It didn't always work, and I had no idea that that would even work outside the building.
It did. So I have like a bunch of, for your kids you probably had last year, like Sidar, Massahar, and who else? Like Michael NGO, whatever his last name was. So I know they're on multiple devices at the same time, and I know they have better home devices than these crappy Chromebooks, and they don't want to use them. So we kind of messed around with it during office hours one day, and I can see every single one of them, and I know for a fact that there's at least 4 of them. Oh, this is also interesting. Maybe there's 5 of them, because the first time I used the locked mode, I did not know it was going to kick them out of the Google Meet. But the only people that were still in the Meet were the people using non-issued Chromebooks. So
Very interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that that was possible, so I can't have told them that. Maybe they interpreted what was happening on the school desktops and figured it out at home.
Yeah.
That's interesting, though. I have the same issue. I mean, I teach computer science. A bunch of these kids have like way better computers at home.
I can only imagine what Pranav's setup looks like. Like, seriously.
All right. Well, I'm not going to breach this with my GoGuardian section today, but I wanted to try and get a little bit more.
I'm only letting my AP kids do it because I know that we have sat one-on-one and figured it out together. I'm not like opening it to the world. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got to switch over, but thank you for answering my question.
No problem. Are we allowed to still talk or not?
Yeah, so Dana, so are you just saying that, so if they log into Chrome at school and they have like a Chrome account, then they can log into Chrome on their home device and it shows up for GoGuardian? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
But, so it shows up on GoGuardian, but this is the thing. If you want to use that locked mode, it does not work. The locked mode only works on school-issued Chromebooks.
And that's for Google Forms though, right?
And I don't like the locked mode. I really enjoy watching them with my eyes and seeing their screens. That's the best I can do. Because then also, if you need to make an announcement, oh, I'm sorry. Who's talking to you? I can see you both looking away.
So if you do scenes on, is that what you're saying, Heather? So if you do scenes on GoGuardian, it won't work?
Are you asking me that? I'm not good at scenes in GoGuardian.
I just started using them yesterday.
Because I feel like I'm going to mess up, like, and not give them one. And then it just makes me, like, I just get nervous about the scenes. So I thought about that. But again, I could see what their screens are doing. And I only saw one person looking at my notes. I guess I'm comfortable with that. I mean, whatever.
I had Meet on the scene yesterday, and some of my kids, because I was watching them on GoGuardian when I activated the scene, and I kicked off tons of kids off of Meet.
Really?
But it wasn't every kid. And then
that's what it is. Like, Meet has to be a part of your scene. Like, I don't understand. I don't know how to work that well enough.
But I wondered if they needed like the exact link that the kids were using.
Yeah.
But then like Julie did it with Class Kick the other day, and then only one of her kids got blocked.
I have no idea.
So I don't know. But thank you for your feedback on the open note thing. That really gives us a lot to think about, because I'm more and more, I just feel like we have to go there to be fair to everyone.
Right. And I'll say, like, I found out the AP test was going to be open note in like April last year. So I've been I've had that time to like accept the fact that this is where we're at. So I understand that, like, right now people are like, oh my God, it can't be open. I totally get that, because that's where I was. So I'm already like 6-7 months in of like, gotta be open notes. This is just life, and it's so different than what we're used to.
Right.
Yeah. So.
All right, we should probably go to our second session.
Thank you. This was great. I came because I saw your names, and I was like, I need to talk to the math. I need to talk to the math teachers.
Awesome.
So thank you. Yeah, we should go. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye,
Okay.
guys.
Bye.